Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio.
Henry, to talk about more details around the announcement we made 2 weeks ago about the implementation of a BC vaccine card. At the outset, I want to say that people have been responding. Minister Dix will have the decimal point, but as of today, 85% of British Columbians over the age of 12 have received a first dose, and 78% have received 2 doses. This is very good news, an extraordinary effort by all British Columbians. I want to commend the public health team for putting in place a vaccination program that was safe, effective, and seamless for the vast majority of British Columbians. Vaccines are a vital tool in our toolkit to put COVID-19 behind us. Over the past 19 months, we've been taking extraordinary steps to keep people safe, to reduce the impact on our healthcare system, and keep our businesses open to the greatest extent possible. The implementation of a BC vaccine card will allow us to ensure that those non-essential businesses that have been adversely affected by lockdowns and shutdowns and public health orders can now confidently say to their patrons who have been double vaccinated that they are operating a business that is safe for them to enter and enjoy a meal, enjoy the theater, go to a sporting event. These initiatives are critically important to our success going forward, and I'm very excited about the prospects of over the next number of months. These measures that we're putting in place will be mirrored in other jurisdictions across Canada. Already, Quebec, Ontario, and Manitoba are underway, and I'm absolutely confident that other provinces will join in, and the federal government, following the outcome of the September 20th election, will also be taking steps to finalize the initiatives that they've already undertaken at the administrative level to make sure that those who are traveling outside of Canada can do so confidently with immunization data available to other countries, and those who are coming into Canada will also be able to prove that they have taken steps to protect themselves and their loved ones by getting 2 vaccines. But we have seen an unacceptable surge in COVID cases, largely among those who have not yet had the opportunity to be vaccinated. And I encourage all British Columbians to weigh against their particular point of view today the positive benefits of following so many other British Columbians getting vaccinated to protect yourself, to protect your families, and allowing us all to move forward, keeping our economy going, making sure that jobs are still there for people as we go forward into what will be, I'm hopeful, an absolutely terrific 2022 and beyond. But in order for that to happen, we all have to unite once again with a common purpose, to see the BC vaccine card as a way to get to those places where we want to be, at a sporting event, at the theater, going out to a movie, having dinner with some friends. Large gatherings can take place with double vaccinations. And I want to tell British Columbians that there are many things that the vaccine card is, but there are many things that they are certainly not. And one of them is not to impede services, basic services from government. You do not have to be concerned about not being able to access provincial services, municipal services, because you've only had 1 vaccine or you've had no vaccines at all. So this is not taking away something, it's adding to what you're able to do, and those are the things that most of us enjoy so much. So let's focus on that. Let's focus on making sure we get those numbers up from 85% to 90% and beyond, and we do that by focusing on all of the benefits that the BC vaccine card can bring to British Columbia. And with that, I'll ask Dr. Henry to go into some of the more intimate details about how this is going to operate over the next number of weeks.
Thank you very much, Premier, and good afternoon. As people here know, the responsibility and focus of our teams in public health across the province have been to monitor, reduce risks, take steps to protect the health of everybody here in British Columbia. When it comes to COVID-19, it's all about that balance. Our goals have always been to reduce sickness and death from the virus, to make sure our healthcare system is not overwhelmed so that people with COVID, but also people with every other health issue, can get the care that they need. and, of course, to minimize the disruption of society, because we know that has effects on our health, our mental health, and our physical health. As we all know, it's not easy, and we have tried to find that balance of making sure we have enough restrictions in place to stop and slow the transmission of the virus, as well as allowing as much as possible to happen to keep society open and functioning. We want to reduce the risk for everybody and balance that with minimizing disruption. And this is the balance that we've worked hard to achieve. And right now, at this phase in the pandemic, we have another tool in our toolbox. We have vaccination. And vaccinations have been proving very, very successful in helping us stem the transmission and, importantly, preventing people from having severe illness ending up in hospital and ICU. But we're not yet at a point where we can let down our guard. And we have an additional effective tool that has changed the rule. I think we need to recognize that nobody likes this virus, that we're not happy that we are here right now. But we also need to recognize that some have carried a much greater burden. Loved ones have been lost, businesses have been closed, and jobs have gone away. And healthcare workers, my colleagues across this province, have been put to the test. We know now that these vaccines are safe, they're effective, and they make a difference in stopping transmission, stopping people from getting sick and ill. And getting vaccinated and showing proof of the vaccination will help protect all of us. It protects those people who are not yet old enough to be immunized, our children, so that they can have a normal school year. It protects the people whose immune systems aren't functioning as well, so that they can continue. And it protects our elders and seniors. And we've seen that again in areas in the province where we've had pockets of people who are not yet vaccinated. It can still spread very rapidly, and the risk of people who are not yet vaccinated is much, much higher, as we've seen. It's 12 times greater risk of infection, 34 times greater risk of ending up in hospital compared to the same person, the same age person. So this vaccine card is another tool that we have that allows us to continue to do things safely in those businesses, and one of the ways that we can reduce our risk going into the fall season. Ultimately, the choice is yours about whether you choose to be vaccinated or not, but what we need to do is make sure that we can continue to keep things open as much as possible, and that's what the BC Vaccine Card is all about. Without the card, optional, discretionary, social, recreational events and activities might have needed even more restrictions and measures than what we have in place today as we're moving into the fall. So this proof of vaccination will take effect on September 13th, and between the 13th and the 24th of October, people who have at least one dose of vaccine will be able to access these discretionary social, recreational events and activities. And then after October 24th, it'll be fully vaccinated people with 2 doses, or some people who may have received the single-dose J&J vaccine in the past. We have put the vaccine card in place, as I said, to keep businesses open, to keep people working, and most importantly, to keep people safe. If you've not yet been vaccinated, that is your choice, but these essential activities and services will remain open for you, just as the case has been for the last 20 months. You will have alternatives to participate in the settings where proof of vaccination will be required. In order, however, to minimize disruption for as many people as possible and make these discretionary events and activities as safe as possible, these are where proof of vaccine will be required. So let me share the details. As of September 13th, I will have new public health orders in place requiring proof of at least one vaccine to access these businesses and events. I will say until September 27th, you can use our new BC vaccine card, and I have more details about that. Or you can also show your vaccine record, the card or paper that you received when you were immunized. As of October 24th, you'll be required to present your BC vaccine card showing you're fully immunized to access this same list. So what we're talking about are indoor ticketed sporting events, so whether you want to see the Canucks or the Lions, indoor concerts, theater, dance, and symphony events, so that we can get back to those arts events that we are so missing, and being able to do it in a way that we can reassure each other is safe. Licensed restaurants, including indoor and patio dining, and cafes, and restaurants that have table service. So what is not here are fast food restaurants, cafeterias, food courts, where people grab and go or drive through. We know that those are much different situations. People are there for a much shorter period of time, and it's not practical to require somebody to try and check a vaccine card in those settings. We also are including nightclubs, casinos, and areas where people now will be able to be reassured that they can go to these places more safely. Movie theaters as well. We're including some of these high-risk settings that have so impacted businesses, including fitness centers, businesses offering those indoor recreational classes, indoor high-intensity classes like spin classes. This will be that added layer of protection so that businesses don't have continuing clusters and outbreaks and aren't needed to be closed during this coming fall. As well, importantly, organized indoor events. So right now, there's gathering limits that starting at 50, so weddings, parties, conferences, meetings, workshops that are indoor events where people are gathering together with the public. And discretionary organized indoor group recreational classes and activities. These are the activities like seniors' fitness classes, for example, where you will now need to show proof of vaccination to attend those safely. As you can see with all of these, we've learned other ways of participating. So if you choose not to be immunized, then there's ways that you can support your local restaurants by continuing to do takeout, by participating in outdoor exercise activities or online activities, as well as watching your favorite Canucks game on TV. So what is the BC vaccine card? It is a card that will allow people to conveniently and securely show their proof of vaccination using either a digital, which you can see here, or a paper version. It will show whether you are either fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated, or no record found. And it's very simple. I know many people tried today, as did I, to enter in some basic information, and a card will come up. It will have a QR code, which is scannable. So it's a scannable square shape. Image like barcode technology that is readable by a device like a smartphone, but it also will be a paper copy that you can use and verify. And I'll show you a picture in a minute. There will be a transition period, as I mentioned, until September 27th for vaccinated people to obtain their BC vaccine card. During this time, your paper record that you got at your immunization clinic will still be able to be used. So here's how you do it. Starting today, and we started this morning with a soft launch, you take these steps. You can either go to gov.bc.ca/vaccine card, and you enter your personal health number, the date of birth, your date of birth, and the date of one of your vaccine doses. So that's the way we verify that you are who you are. Then you get your BC vaccine card. You can save it to your mobile device. You can save it to your computer. You can print it. You can save it by, as I learned this morning, pressing a screenshot and then swiping so that it goes into your pictures on your phone. And then you have your vaccine card ready to present when you go to one of these events or businesses that requires it. For those who have already signed on to the Health Gateway, you can actually get it very easily through the Health Gateway as well. But you don't need to sign on to the Health Gateway to be able to get your card very simply by going to this website on your phone. So this is what it looks like. It'll come up on your phone that you've either received both doses of a 2-dose vaccine series or 1 dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine series, that you're partially vaccinated, or that there's no record. So what you'll see is a very minimum information with a QR code and your name. And those are the important pieces of information that allows a business to verify whether you've been vaccinated or not. It's important that the website can be used to print your BC vaccine card by following the same steps and then printing from a computer or a phone. And we know that many people aren't so tech savvy with the phone, so there are other ways you can do it. You can do it on a computer. You can ask a friend or family member. We really encourage people to do that, to assist you to print your BC vaccine card. For those who don't have access to a computer or a smartphone, you can call our provincial vaccine line at 1-833-838-2323, and we will help walk you through it and send you a printed card in the mail. Or you can visit one of the 64 Service BC centres around British Columbia who can also print your card for you. I do want to say, though, we know there'll be some people who have challenges with this, and to be patient in the first few days. This service will be available over the next number of weeks. We have a period of time where we're transitioning in, where you can still use your vaccine card that you received when you received your immunization. But there are many different ways that you can get this card. You do not have to download an app onto your phone to get your personal BC vaccine card. And then when you arrive at a business that requires proof of vaccination, you have either your digital or your paper copy ready, and you'll be asked to display it, and with a piece of valid government ID that just confirms that that's the same person, that you are the person for whom that vaccine information applies to. We're not going to be requiring government information ID for those 12 to 18, as we know that can be a challenge for people to have that. So for young people, 12 to 18, you'll just need to show your proof of vaccination. Families and caregivers or friends, you can download, or grandparents, you can download others' copies on your phone with you, or you can have multiple paper copies on your mobile device or by paper. For a business perspective, for verifying a BC vaccine card, you have 2 options, and these 2 options will be the same throughout the process where we have this temporary measure in place. Option 1 is you can download an app that will allow you to scan the QR code. And really importantly, this BC verification app, and I'll talk a bit more about it, allows you to scan but doesn't collect or store any information. Or you can continue to verify it visually by looking at what is on the paper copy. So the BC Vaccine Card Verifier app will be ready starting next week, and it'll be downloadable from Google or from the App Store. And you will be able to verify vaccination status using this app and then look at the person's ID to make sure that they are the person whose card you've scanned. The app only reads the COVID-19 vaccination information. No additional health information is stored on the app or on a smartphone that somebody uses to scan. And it's available, as I mentioned, for Apple or Android devices starting on September 13th. So this is kind of what it looks like. 1, you download the app onto your phone and you allow access to the camera. Then you use that to either scan the paper copy or the phone copy that somebody has when they come into your business, your restaurant, and it tells you the step 3 there on the right. What it'll come up with is a green sign that says vaccinated, a blue sign that says partially vaccinated, or no record found. So it's very simple, and then you can go on and scan the next one. So businesses, as I mentioned, can also visually verify either the digital paper or digital or paper copy of the BC vaccine card, like checking proof of age for alcohol sales. You can look at it directly and confirm that it is the person. And for people, as I mentioned, age 19 and above, you'll have to have a government-issued ID to verify that you are the person associated with that QR code. As I mentioned, we will be transitioning over the period of the next 3 weeks up until September 26. You can still use your paper record, but these paper records, we know, have more information on them that's visible to people. As well, the QR code is more secure because it's directly related to the information that's stored in our immunization registry. So starting September 27th, the BC vaccine card will be the only accepted form of proof. And businesses, however, will still have the option of viewing or scanning the paper or digital BC vaccine card. I know that this is a challenge for all of us right now. Everything new means that there's new things we have to try out. We need to work out the kinks. We've been working with a number of business organizations in the past couple of weeks to put this in place to make it as simple as possible. We have information for businesses, including step-by-step instructions. That's found on the gov.bc.ca website at vaccinecard-businesses. And we encourage businesses to reach out to their associations and to go online to get more information. As well, we'll be launching an information call line for businesses specifically starting next week, where we'll be able to take information and share it on the website, the questions, the issues that are coming up, the best practices that people are using. So that is part of our commitment to engage with businesses as we go through this in the next week and as we roll this out over the next few months. One of the things that we have been most concerned about as we were developing the concept around this is privacy and security. So the BC vaccine card is designed using the global Smart Health Card framework, which is internationally recognized criteria for ensuring privacy and security. It uses these QR codes to keep a copy of your record on hand, and you have the option of sharing that information with people. We are requiring businesses to use the BC app, which has very limited information, so it only comes up with a report that tells you whether you're vaccinated or not, so the business knows. There's no downloading of information, and very importantly, there's no connection to other health information that you might have. This type of technology is being widely used for proof of COVID vaccinations, very similar to Quebec and other places are using as well. And it's a framework that other provinces and territories will be building on, and that we're working with the federal government to make sure that this is the card that you will use eventually when the federal app for international travel becomes more available. So it will be interoperable with that. We'll be able to access your QR code with the needed information that you'll need to travel internationally once that's in place. So these standards, as I mentioned, store only the absolute minimum information and are not connected to any other health records. But you still need to keep them secure as you would a copy of your vaccine card that has your information on them. So don't post your own QR code on social media. If somebody does try to use it, though, it does have your name on it. So again, that's why we need a verification with a form of identification. We know as well that our immunization registry, that we've delivered over 7.5 million doses of vaccine, that there are some people whose doses may not be or entered correctly, or they may be missing one of their doses. And so if there is a problem with your immunization record as you're going to try and get your BC vaccine card, you can update it on the website as well, immunizationrecord.gov.bc.ca. This also is for people who are returning to BC, who are students, who have been vaccinated, people who have been vaccinated outside of BC. You can go to this and update and submit your immunization records, and that will enable you to get your BC vaccine card. Submitting this information is very simple. It takes less than 5 minutes, and we will be adding that into the immunization registry so that you can access your vaccine card as soon as possible. Realistically, if we get a large number of people who are doing this, it may take several days before that can happen, as much as 4 to 7 days. And that's why one of the reasons we have a grace period over the next few months. As well, people who are out of province, we have ways to ensure that we can accept their proof of vaccination, especially from other Canadian provinces and territories. You have to show your provincial or territorial officially recognized vaccine record, and we'll have copies of those available for businesses on the business website so they know what they're looking for, as well as corresponding government photo ID. And the same goes for people in the Canadian Armed Forces who are immunized through their workplace. They can show their military ID and their vaccine card. And for international visitors, all of them have to have a proof of immunization on the ArriveCan app, and they can use that with their passport as a way of showing that they are also immunized. So we've tried to make this as simple and as practical as possible, to make it as easy as possible for those of us who are immunized to obtain the record, and for businesses to be able to efficiently scan them. As you know, provincial health officer orders are still in place, and these will supplement what we need to do right now as we're moving forward with the BC vaccine card. That means masks will continue to be required in indoor public places for people 12 and up, as they have been. That's that added layer of protection that we need right now with the transmission that we're seeing. As well, we still have capacity limits that are in place under the events and gatherings order, and that means 50 people or 50% capacity, whichever is greater. But what we hope as we move through this next few months with the BC vaccine card is that once it is only immunized people who are at these discretionary events, these social events, these businesses, will be able to remove those capacity limits, because we know that we've mitigated the risk so much of transmission because people are protected in those settings through immunization. I will say as well that all PHO orders are enforceable, and that fines can be issued under the orders that we have in place now. And they can be issued by a number of different officials, whether it's the Community Safety Unit, our liquor and cannabis inspectors, environmental health officers, gaming investigators, conservation officers, and of course, public safety officers or police officers. Obviously, the first the first line of defense is not to call the police, and the police are there to support us, to support businesses, should somebody be disturbing the peace. And we have seen that in a few occasions, but we know that that is rare. And this really is about the ability for us to continue to come together and do these discretionary, important social events, arts events, sports events together in a way that keeps each other safe. So as I mentioned, these are time limited, and the timing may change depending on how we progress, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to remove some of the restrictions, and we'll take away that risk of having to shut down or close events or businesses like we had to do last year as transmission increased through the fall. So the BC vaccine card, as I said, is another layer of protection, but it's not the only layer. Masks continue to be required. And of course, it goes without saying that all of those important things that we do, staying away if we're not feeling well ourselves, getting tested, washing hands, all of the things that we've now learned as part of our day-to-day life getting through this pandemic, are going to be continuing important. But the vaccine card gives us is an alternative to more restrictive measures in many events and businesses and social situations. It gives us that opportunity to do things in a way that is far closer to what existed before the COVID-19 pandemic. I understand that people are tired and frustrated with COVID-19. and that we are concerned about what lies ahead and what might happen next. Right now, we need to focus on getting through this next phase, and let's get angry at this virus, not at each other. And let's continue to support each other, whether that's supporting your local arts organization, your sports club, your local restaurant, whether you're vaccinated, doing that in person, or continuing to support them by watching online, by doing takeout from your local restaurant. We will get through this. We will get through this. This is another tool that we have. We know that these vaccines are very effective and they're protecting people. They're protecting people from hospitalization and severe illness, and it's protecting our healthcare system. And we know that these are the tools that allow us to continue to come together and to have those interactions, to have those businesses, to have those events that we need in our lives. So I encourage everybody to download their vaccine card over the next few days. And we will be supporting businesses and working with you as we go through this next few months to get this implemented. We will get through this, and we'll do that together by doing what we have been doing all along here in BC. That's supporting each other and doing it with kindness and with compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier Horgan. Dr. Henry, today in British Columbia, and it's a significant thing, 7,545,871 doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered all over our province. That 85.1% of people have received their first dose. That 77.6% of people have received their second dose. And indeed, in the period since we started, since we announced the BC vaccine card was coming, what we've seen is a significant increase in registrations. And I want to note who's been leading the way. Leading the way are those aged 18 to 24, 85.5% of whom have been vaccinated, their first dose immunization, and still this weekend again, leading in registrations, leading in new bookings. That number will go up. This level of confidence that more than 17 out of every 20 people have been immunized is a reflection of the extraordinary work and the experience of immunization by our talented teams at clinics everywhere in BC, by healthcare workers, by doctors, by nurses, by pharmacists, by the entire healthcare team. The performance has been excellent. It's been done with generosity and safety, and I hear every day from people who are, in some cases, worried about the experience. No one likes to get a shot in general, and who have found the experience to be immeasurably positive in their lives, and the experience of going to an immunization clinic positive. And I want to encourage everybody today, everybody, to join all of those people, to join that 85.1% and get vaccinated against COVID-19. Dr. Henry stated the numbers pretty clearly. 12 times more likely to test positive for COVID-19 if you're unvaccinated. 34 times more likely, 34, to go to hospital. And when you consider what it takes to go to hospital and the significance of that, both for our healthcare system, but for you as an individual, I think the case is so profoundly strong right now, if you haven't been vaccinated, to get vaccinated, to book, to register your appointment to go get vaccinated or drop in at our many drop-in opportunities. This week, focusing on young people, 12 to 17, 18 to 30, we're going to continue in working with school districts and working with our post-secondary sector to see there are more and more opportunities, particularly for young people to get vaccinated in this time. But if you're one of the more than 140,000 people over 60 who have not yet been vaccinated, this is an important time as well, because your level of risk should drive you to make that decision. The BC vaccine card builds on the confidence that this vaccination campaign has shown, that confidence that says that in our pandemic we are making the right choice by getting vaccinated, that we're making the best choices, and that right now, especially with the surge in cases and in hospitalizations we've seen primarily in groups of unvaccinated people, we're doing exactly what's required to save lives and to save people's long-term health. I think it's important to recognize that after all we've been through in the last many months, including launching the most remarkable and effective vaccination effort our province has ever seen, getting the BC vaccine card is straightforward. Dr. Henry took you through that just a few minutes ago. First, and this is the most important part, get vaccinated. Second, visit gov.bc.ca/vaccine card and download or print a copy of our BC vaccine card and store it on our phone or print a paper copy. Now, for any reason, not able to access the online website to download or print a card, we can still get our BC vaccine card. We can call 1-833-838-2323 to get a copy of our card mailed to us. We can ask a family member or a trusted friend or support person to print our card for us, or we can visit a Service BC center around BC to get one. And let's remember, all of us, to reach out and help those we know might need our help in getting their BC vaccine card. The BC's vaccine card is a critical new initiative at a key moment in our BC pandemic, and getting it is a step that we're all taking together, one that will see us continue to adapt to make sure that we're not just able to get the card, but the businesses can use it to its full potential to give us all additional confidence that when we're participating in events and activities, those around us are fully vaccinated as well. The pandemic has taken a heavy toll on all of us. Some, of course, more than others. The road back continues to be long and challenging. The BC vaccine card is a welcome milestone on the way, showing how far we've come and just as important that we are all coming back together. Remember, today, if you haven't been vaccinated, get vaccinated. Premier?
Okay, we will now move into the question portion of the announcement. As a reminder to everybody on the phone line, please press *1 to enter the queue. You're limited to one question and one follow-up only. First question today is from Binder Sajan, CTV.
Hi there. I'm just wondering, I know we heard there that this measure is being put in place partly to make sure that businesses can remain open. I know last time we saw closures or restrictions, there really weren't vaccines. Now we are seeing rising case numbers and hospitals.
Thank you for listening today, and thank you for supporting us with our sponsors. Please go to depictions.media for more information and click on our contact link and let us know how we can help bring your story and help bring us to a better world.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.